A Close Encounter. I'm Jason Horton.
I'm Rebecca Lieb.
And this is Ghost Town.
On October 21st, 1978, a 20-year-old pilot vanished under bizarre and unexplained circumstances that entangled his longtime obsession with flight with his longtime obsession with UFOs. With an ominous radio correspondence experts have been poring over for nearly 50 years, on this episode, we'll be discussing a Twilight Zone-like disappearance, one with many outlandish explanations, ins and outs, and nuanced clues. Today on Ghost Town, the mysterious disappearance of Frederich Valentich. Born June, Frederich Valentich was a young Australian man obsessed with flight. He had about 150 total hours flying time, a membership in the Air Training Corps, and a Class 4 instrument rating. But Valentich still had a bit to learn. He had been rejected twice from enlisting in the Royal Australian Air Force. But because of inadequate educational qualifications, he was rejected. In 1978, the 20-year-old was studying part-time to become a commercial pilot, but had a poor achievement record, having twice failed all 5 commercial license examination subjects. And in the fall of 1978, he failed 3 more commercial license subjects. He had also been involved in multiple flying incidents, including straying into a controlled zone in Sydney and twice deliberately flying into a cloud. Valentich planned on piloting a Cessna 182L on October 21, 1978, bound for King Island. While the motivation for his flight is ultimately unknown, he had 2 different stories about why he was heading to the island off Tasmania. He told flight officials that he was going to the island to pick up some friends, and he told everybody else that he was going to pick up crayfish. Both proved to be untrue, but I am getting ahead of myself. In addition, Valentich had also failed to inform King Island Airport of his intention to land his plane there, going against standard procedure. So, on the evening of October 21st, 1978, given all of his background and these conditions, Frederich Valentich set out for King Island in a Cessna 182L, registered under the letters VHDSH. Official reports state that the beginning of Valentich's flight went off without a hitch, and with perfect weather conditions, Valentich departed from Moorabbin at 1819 hours or 6:19 p.m. local time, and arrived at Cape Otway, a stopover on the way to King Island, about 41 minutes later. His next move was to fly from Cape Otway to King Island, a 28-minute flight. At 7:06 p.m., Valentich got on his radio for a less than 5-minute conversation with the Melbourne Flight Service Unit, or the FSU. The incident report on Valentich's case provides the crucial correspondence between Valentich and FSU. Jason and I are going to read it completely unaltered right here. To help distinguish who's who, Jason will read Valentich's correspondence and I'll be FSU. As a note, Delta Sierra Juliet are the words describing Valentich's aircraft.
Melbourne, this is Delta Sierra Juliet. Is there any known traffic below 5,000?
Delta Sierra Juliet, no known traffic.
Delta Sierra Juliet. IM seems to be a large aircraft below 5,000.
DD Delta Sierra Juliet, what type of aircraft is it?
Delta Sierra Juliet, I cannot affirm. It is 4 bright. It seems to be like landing lights.
Delta Sierra Juliet?
Melbourne, this is Delta Sierra Juliet. The aircraft has just passed over me at least 1,000 feet above.
Delta Sierra Juliet, roger, and it is a large aircraft, confirm.
Unknown due to the speed it's traveling. Is there any Air Force aircraft in the vicinity?
Delta Sierra Juliet, no known aircraft in the vicinity.
Melbourne, it's approaching now from due east towards me.
Delta Sierra Juliet, then the open microphone, it just goes kind of static for 2 seconds.
Delta Sierra Juliet, it seems to me that he's playing some sort of game. He's flying over me 3 times at a time at speeds I could not identify.
Delta Sierra Juliet, roger, what is your actual level?
My level is 4,500, 4500.
Delta Sierra Juliet, and confirm you cannot identify the aircraft.
Affirmative.
Delta Sierra Juliet, roger, stand by.
Melbourne, Delta Sierra Juliet, it is not an aircraft, it is...
And then it's an open microphone static for 2 seconds. Delta Sierra Juliet, Melbourne, can you describe the aircraft?
Delta Sierra Juliet, it is flying past. It is a long shape.
Then there's 3 seconds of static.
Cannot identify more than that it has such speed.
Then another 3 seconds of static.
Before me right now, Melbourne.
Delta Sierra Juliet, Roger, and how large would the object be?
Delta Sierra Juliet, Melbourne, it seems like it's stationary. What I'm doing right now is orbiting, and the thing is just orbiting on top of me. Also, it's got a green light and sort of metallic-like. It's shiny on the outside.
Delta Sierra Juliet.
Delta Sierra Juliet.
Then there's a big pause.
It just vanished.
Delta Sierra Juliet.
Melbourne, would you know what kind of aircraft I've got? It is a type of military aircraft.
Delta Sierra Juliet, confirm the aircraft just vanished.
Say again.
Delta Sierra Juliet, Delta Sierra Juliet, is the aircraft still with you?
Delta Sierra Juliet.
There's a 2-second pause.
Now approaching from the southwest.
Delta Sierra Juliet.
Delta Sierra Juliet, the engine is rough idling. I've got it set at 23, 24, and the thing is...
And then there's some coughing. Delta Sierra Juliet, Roger, what are your intentions?
My intentions are to go to King Island, Melbourne. That strange aircraft is hovering on top of me.
Then there's 2 seconds of open microphone.
It is hovering, and it is not an aircraft.
Delta Sierra Juliet.
Delta Sierra Juliet, Melbourne.
Then there's 17 seconds of static, open microphone. Delta Sierra Juliet, Melbourne. After this radio communication, there is no record of any further transmissions from Frederich Valentich or his aircraft. With Valentich not responding to communication and the plane having not reached King Island at all, rescue efforts almost immediately occurred, which according to a story on the case published by AP included, quote, 8 planes and an Australian Air Force maritime reconnaissance plane. The investigative report on the case says, quote, the alert phase of SAR procedures was declared at 1912 hours, and at 1933 hours when the aircraft did not arrive at King Island, the distress phase was declared and search action was commenced. An intensive air, sea, and land search was continued until October 25th, 1978, but no trace of the aircraft was found. The reason for the disappearance of the aircraft has not yet been determined. The radio transcript itself, the one we just read for you, was released and printed in newspapers within the days of Valentich's disappearance, which was, at this point, quote, presumed fatal. Case closed, right? Not at all. We'll get even more bizarre details after this break.
Hi, hello, how are you?
Hello.
How are you doing?
You doing good?
Yeah.
You doing
Sounds
good?
it.
Round it out this year.
Yeah, rounding it out.
Here we are.
Just sliding into home, baby.
Woo!
And then
Back
back on
to
hopefully first
home
base
plate.
again. Yeah.
Oh, we just said home. I know baseball.
Yeah. We're not a sports podcast,
Mm-mm.
by the way.
Mm-mm.
I don't know what kind of podcast we are usually.
Yeah, at this point, I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
not that. Not that.
We want to say hello to anyone who's listening, supporting us, spreading the good word of Ghost Town. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And our mysterious mayors.
Ooh.
They've seen some things that they
have they?
can't quite identify.
Hmm.
This mayor saw some mysterious entity. Turned out to be an ex.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Super mysterious.
Oof.
And of course, it's in the supermarket.
Gives me chills.
Where you're like, I'm just going to go to the supermarket. I'm just going to wear.
I look like shit.
Yeah, I don't care.
Mhm.
I got what's in my basket. Freaking M&Ms. Who
Mhm,
cares?
I know.
I don't even care.
I'm wearing slippers.
Yeah, whatever. In and out. There's the
There
eggs.
they are.
Yep. It's
Looking
like,
great.
wait, yes. Anyway, that's Chris Hernandez.
Hello.
This was in the form of, why isn't there more money in my bank account?
I relate.
Yeah. Where'd that money go? There was money there. Now it's the end of the month. No money there.
Huh.
What happened to that money? Not going to look at my DoorDash receipts for that's
No.
for sure.
Never. Don't
No
do that. Don't do that.
Way. That's
Nope.
Ashley Matson.
Hello.
This mayor had a mystery.
Hmm.
Started up their car and we're like, hey, why is there no gas in the gas tank? Even though I said yesterday, I was like, I should do this before I leave in the morning because the morning is more hectic and there's more traffic. And I was like, nah, I'll just do it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get in your car and you're like, chickens come home to roost, baby. Now you got to get gas, which is the worst.
Yeah, that is bad. That's very annoying. Profoundly annoying.
It's like, do yourself a favor today for tomorrow and get that gas. Cat Joselle.
Hello.
This mayor had a mystery. opened up the refrigerator and said, huh, no food in there. What? I know I just went shopping. Oh, that was 3 weeks ago. I went 3 weeks ago. I went shopping 3 weeks ago, and I was telling myself, I was like, I'm going to eat all these vegetables. I'm going to eat all this fruit. Didn't happen. Never happened.
You ate some fucking Oreos and some Diet Cokes, and the rest of it rotted in your fridge. I know.
Matthew Clemens Luray.
Hello. This
mayor was like, hey, but I was on some text chain and now I'm not on it anymore. What the heck happened? Everyone was talking about what we're going to do for Christmas vacation when I'm back home. And then all of a sudden, I was off it. I don't know what the deal is. Did I take myself off it? Or did somebody else take me off it? I didn't want to be on that chain anyway. It was annoying. But I want to be the one to get taken off it.
Yeah.
It's Marissa Rothermel.
Hello.
This mayor was like, what happened to that Bitcoin I bought? Oh, that crypto I bought. How do I get back into it? What's a cold wallet? Why did I buy crypto? And there's money in there, and I need that money, but I have no way to access it. There's like so many codes, and then you have to. I need that money. I need to buy Christmas presents. It's Kelly Mann.
Hello.
I think we've got one more to do. This mayor has an opposite problem of one of the other mayors. Where's my partner? We're at the mall. I said don't walk away. I said we're going to be in and out. Why are you at the shoe store? You don't need any shoes. Why am I finding you in a freaking shoe store? He's like, he's like, I don't know. Maybe I was thinking about getting a new pair of shoes. He's like, you don't even wear the other shoes you have. You just wear your New Balance. You're just always wearing your New Balance. Well, this mayor might be surprised to find out it's Casey Weber.
Hello.
I got a whole world.
Yeah, truly. This is the episode.
And then our governor. There is no mysteries. All those puzzles and those numerologies, they all connect.
All will be made known when the time is right.
It's just inside the private jet, there's just screens, right? There's just
like math and streaming codes.
It's like, he's like, I know the access to that crypto wallet.
Yeah.
Oh, I definitely know the access to that crypto wallet.
Exactly.
It just got it all up there and just laughing as the rats just crawl to the end of another year, not knowing. But the thing is that our governor knows they don't want to know the answer.
Yeah.
You need our governor up there controlling things.
Absolutely.
Be thankful. That would be our one and only governor, Avian Noble. If you want no ads, no chit-chat, bonus episodes, just the good stuff, 7 days free, head on over to patreon.com/ghosttownpod. I got a review. And do you want me to turn into a full-blown hater right now?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. You heard it, everybody. I gave her an option. I said, hey, why don't you take the high road? Rebecca's like, nah, how about the low road?
The petty, cheap, low road.
So I'm going to start with the good one.
Great.
I'm going to end it with the bad one because I just love to simmer. I just love to take precious years off my life.
Yep.
One of my fave podcasts, 5 stars.
Yay.
The best stories. Just fast forward to the gabbing in the middle. Honest. This is like our therapist. It's our therapist saying, hey, listen, do your thing.
Listen, this episode that you're hearing us on right now, how long is this middle part? I don't know. I've been here for years.
I edited it. I'm like, yikes. So we are self-aware. We are not clueless.
Yes. Can we have our fun, though, in the middle? I know everyone hates it. This
podcast has the most interesting stories and told so well. It's CCLBTC, US and A. Now, here's where we have some fun. Here's where I go absolutely freaking haywire.
Let's hear it.
Not that great. 2 stars.
Not that great. What, is there hype that we are great?
Yeah.
Love it already.
And I've spent time looking at this, and I believe I have an answer to this question. The ads are haphazardly placed sort of near where the hosts say they will be. Think like in the middle of a word or phrase. They ask for honest reviews and then are nasty. Nasty. People leave a bad one. If you want a good review, just do better. The content is interesting and the hosts are entertaining, but it's like they stopped caring about the end product. And I will tell you something. As someone who edits all these.
Yes, Jason does all of this.
And I have pretty bad OCD in general, like a lot of people. And this podcasting has not made it any better.
Mm-mm.
It hasn't made it any... It's exacerbated, the word. I think I'm saying that correctly. So I'll tell you, I place an ad marker exactly in it's the beginning and end. That's there by default. So I have nothing to do with that. I place an ad marker when Rebecca or I say, and now it's time for a break. I'm letting you know. I place it there. I don't change anything. It's no different. It's scientifically done. There's no haphazardly placing it. All I can think of is that there's error within technology. The other thing is, and I don't know how, if this person is saying that this happened before, say, like 3 months ago, I don't know what to tell you. But we did switch over from 2 different uploading platforms.
Yeah.
And there's a migration process. Within that migration process, that may have happened. That may have altered things. It's supposed to not be.
Yeah.
And that's what I was told. There's like 600 and something episodes there. I'm not going through 600 episodes to see where they are. It's not happening. So if that is the case, that may be the case. And yes, you're right. The listener, that's not the listener's problem.
No. And that's honestly, that sucks. That's annoying.
Yes, and
it would
is
annoy
that
me.
Technically on us? But I will tell you that there's not enough time, and we don't make enough.
We don't make
any money.
On this.
This is a labor of love.
Yeah.
So for the labor of love, unfortunately, that's what you get. So that's not the fault of the reviewer, but also I'm letting people know now if that's the answer, that is the answer. It's a technological issue from a almost 6-year-old podcast. Don't know what to tell you. Live with it. But I will say it is not because of doing all this work and then at the last minute going, I'm just going to press a button here. It's harder to do that than to have some kind of order. It's more work for me just to put it anywhere than it is to put it in like a designated spot.
Yeah.
So that's the answer to that. So if you are hearing that out there, please let us know, and I'll see about having this people that work on the platform itself see if they can kind of realign things. This is the first I'm hearing about it, and that's what I can surmise. I don't know. But I will let you know that there is no point where we stopped caring. At that point, you can accuse us in other places.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, this has been quite a journey for us. We care deeply about the podcast. We put in a ton of work to make it the shitty product that it is, I guess.
Well, that's strictly witchly in the US and I guess cast a spell on me.
I love it. Listen, honest, I appreciate it. That's something that is out of our control.
Just don't accuse us of things and I don't know. Do we get nasty? I think more smug.
Yeah.
Because we'll always own up. And a lot of times people they're right.
Yeah.
They're not. The criticisms are correct. I mean, some is what can you do about it? But I won't stand by idly when it's something that we have not intentionally done.
Not our purpose. It's the machine that we all live in.
Yes.
Specifically us as podcasters. Well, should we get back to...
Take me to outer space.
Melbourne? Okay. Let's go. On October 23rd, 2 days after Valentich's disappearance, Melbourne newspaper The Age printed another detail about the case that they thought would prove helpful. The outlet says that a metallic sound was heard by flight service personnel when Valentich mentioned that the engine was, quote, rough idling. Quote, Department of Transport officials working at flight service said that there was a, quote, sort of metallic sound over the radio before communication was lost. A spokesman said last night it was possible Valentich was flying the plane upside down and crashed. He may have become disoriented and confused by reflection from the Cape Otway and King Island lighthouses, the spokesman continued. The lighthouses may have reflected off of particles of the cloud. Veteran aviators didn't believe that Valentich was flying upside down at all. Arthur Schutt, at the time the head of an aviation company, commented, in that half-light, the pilot would have soon known if the aircraft had started to turn upside down. The carpet comes out of the floor and the butts fall out of the ashtray. But after the details were out and no progress was being made, newspapers turned to another detail that they believed would be of interest to the public, that Valentich was a huge UFO enthusiast, as was his father, Guido Valentich. On October 24th, 1978, the Associated Press published the headline, quote, "UFO enthusiast missing after reporting craft." Additionally, Valentich's dad said he hoped his son had been taken by a UFO and had actually not crashed. Quote, "The fact that they have found no trace of him really verifies the fact that UFOs could have been there," he said. Mr. Valentich said his son used to study UFOs, quote, "as a hobby using information he had received from the Air Force." Quote, "He was not the kind of person who would make up stories. Everything had to be very correct and positive for him." Guido kept speaking out on behalf of his son and of UFO activity in general. Around October 25th, Guido said he believed his son was being, quote, "held by people from another planet." He also used the words, quote, "someone from another world," and added, "They may want to hold him for a week or so before returning him." Sounds a little crazy, right? Well, as it turns out, the day Valentich vanished, eyewitnesses called the Department of Transport mentioning seeing an object in the sky. More information about purported eyewitness came from the Herald Wire services on October 25th. Bank manager Colin Morgan and his wife reported seeing a large glowing star-shaped object hovering in the sky for nearly 1 hour Saturday night near the town of Geelong, 35 miles southwest of Melbourne. Quote, "It seemed to be cruising almost above us as we drove down the highway," Morgan said. "It was bright and had green flickering lights at one end." Residents of King Island have reported sightings of strange bright and trailing lights over the past 6 weeks. Enter Rhonda Rushton, the 17-year-old girlfriend of Frederich Valentich. On October 31st, Rushton and some of Valentich's friends chartered a flight for 2 hours to search for the pilot, believing vehemently that he was still alive. The 17-year-old girl still firmly believes Valentich crashed near Cape Otway, Apollo Bay, about 100 miles from Melbourne, after turning back when he reported engine trouble at about 13.8 miles from land. Quote, "He always told me that's what he'd do if he got into trouble over the sea," she said. A group of Valentich's friends, armed with transceivers, were also in the heavy timbered mountains and bush tracks searching for a trace of plane. They said, quote, "We want to search the area because the official search was concentrated on the sea and not on the land. There are quite a few of us who have known him for years, and we still think he is alive." The story also printed that Rushton said Valentich once told her that, quote, "if a UFO did come to Earth, he'd go back with it, but not without her." And then another detail emerged, this time from the Canadian newspaper Nanaimo Daily Free Press. They reported that 20 minutes before Valentich's first radio call, a vacationing plumber named Roy Manifold was photographing the sunset over Bass Strait. When he examined the 6 photos he took, the 4th and 6th one each showed something a bit out of the ordinary. Quote, "On the 4th picture, a dense black lump was noticed which seemed to be stirring up in the sea, giving the impression of an object rising from above the water. The 6th photograph shows a strange mass situated in the skies directly above the position of the lump in disturbance seen in photo number 4. The mass or object is accompanied by a trail of small, bright blue shapes, and the impression given is one of tremendous speed, or an exhaust being trailed from the main subject. To me, these photos look a lot like what you'd imagine UFO photos to look like. Black and white, blurry, you can see lots of shapes and blobs, but you can't really tell what they are. All of it begs the question, what happened to Frederich Valentich? Was it a crash, an alien abduction, a conspiracy theory, a hoax? Some Western Australia Department of Transport officials still believed he got disoriented while flying upside down and crashed. Another theory is that Valentich staged his own disappearance, even taking into account a trip of between 30 and 45 minutes to Cape Otway. The single-engine Cessna 182 still had enough fuel to fly 500 more miles, and Valentich could have gotten out of there and landed somewhere else. In fact, Melbourne police received reports of a light aircraft making a mysterious landing not far from Cape Otway at the same time as Valentich's disappearance. There has also been speculation that Valentich died by suicide, faced with the idea that he wasn't doing better in school or generally as a pilot. According to Brian Dunning, Valentich might have also just been trolling the Melbourne air controller, and because he was a very bad pilot, accidentally got disoriented and crashed into the water. Dunning hypothesizes this because radio conversation between the controller and Valentich is similar to dialogue from the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which was released less than a year before the disappearance and was, of course, popular among pilots, young people, and UFO fans. Dunning speculated that it is possible that Valentich was trying to imitate the scene for fun and deliberately made his aircraft fly in circles to, quote, give the radar guys something to see. Of course, if true, the whole thing spiraled out of control, literally. A 2013 review of the radio transcripts and other data by astronomer and retired U.S. Air Force pilot James Magaha and author Joe Nickel proposes that the inexperienced Valentich was deceived by the illusion of a tilted horizon, which many pilots are subjected to. And basically what it does is create a fake horizon that the pilots unfortunately believe is real and keep flying towards. It is an optical illusion. This puts the aircraft into what's known as a graveyard spiral, dangerous spiral dive that many untrained pilots also fall prey to. According to the authors, the g-forces of a tightening spiral would decrease fuel flow, resulting in the rough idling reported by Valentich. Magaha and Nickel go on to say that the lights Valentich reported were probably the planets Venus, Mars, and Mercury, along with the bright star Antares, which would have behaved in a way consistent with Valentich's description. They write, quote, at a most critical time, therefore, when he should have been in fully alert mode, paying attention to his instruments, he was instead engaged in something that was extremely distracting, flying while excitedly focusing on and talking about a UFO. This, as we can now see, was a recipe for disaster. With Valentich succumbing to spatial disorientation, his plane, like that of young John F. Kennedy Jr. over 2 decades later, began what is aptly termed a graveyard spiral. Whatever you believe, the disappearance of Frederich Valentich has never been formally solved, not by experts, family, UFO enthusiasts, or military personnel. And yet, believers still look to the sky off the coast of Melbourne, hoping to spot a plane, a clue, or the cryptic lights that Frederich Valentich saw so many years ago.